Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. China starts military exercises around Taiwan, deploys planes and ships to encircle it. Taiwan calls it a blatant provocation. 4 Israeli soldiers dead, many injured in a drone attack. Hezbollah threatens Israel with more attacks if Lebanon assault continues. Man arrested near Trump rally in California faces gun charges, had firearms, multiple passports and a fake license plate. Police claims to have averted another assassination attempt.
I probably did have deputies that prevented the third assassination attempt.
North Korea says border units on standby to shoot amid drone infiltration. South Korea neither confirmed nor denied it, however warns of severe consequences. India's Draupadi Murmu addresses Indian community in Algeria, says Indian community is a bridge between the two nations. Delegation level talks today. China on Monday launched military drills around Taiwan. Beijing's defense ministry said the country has deployed planes and ships to encircle the Taiwan island. The Chinese military's Eastern Theater Command in an early morning statement said the Joint Sword 2024B drills were taking place in the Taiwan Strait and areas to the north, south and east of Taiwan. The statement further reads, and I quote, "The drill also serves as a stern warning to the separatist acts of Taiwan independence forces. It is a legitimate and necessary operation for safeguarding state sovereignty and national unity." The drills are focusing on subjects of sea-air combat readiness patrol, blockade on key ports and areas. Beijing maintains a near-daily military presence around Taiwan, and Monday's drills represent its 4th round of large-scale war games in the past 2 years. Taiwan condemned the latest exercises as irrational and provocative. In a statement, Taiwan's defense ministry said it had dispatched appropriate forces to respond accordingly to protect freedom and democracy and defend the sovereignty of Taiwan. The statement said, in face of enemy threats, all officers and soldiers of the country are in full readiness. It further reads that Taiwan is determined and confident to ensure national defense security. A Taiwan security official said on Monday that pressure on Taiwan from China is not light. Speaking at an international forum on Chinese politics being held in Taipei, National Security Council Secretary General Joseph Wu said, and I quote him, "We need to stay alert at all times. We will stay moderate and responsible, maintain status quo across the Taiwan Strait," and I unquote. United States, meanwhile, said that the Biden administration is monitoring the PLA exercise around Taiwan. The Biden administration, in a statement, urged the Chinese government to avoid any further actions that may jeopardize peace and stability across Taiwan Strait and in the broader region. It further said that no justification for military exercises and pressure campaigns in response to a routine annual speech. Also, the U.S. reiterated its one China policy has not changed. The U.S. said it opposes unilateral changes to the status quo from either side and support cross-strait dialogue. The U.S. further said that it expects cross-strait differences to be resolved by peaceful means. Let's get to updates on West Asia conflict now. Israel's military said a Hezbollah drone had killed 4 soldiers at one of its northern bases on Sunday. The attack on a military training camp near Haifa is the deadliest such assault on an Israeli base since September 23rd, when Israel increased its attacks on Hezbollah in Lebanon. Emergency services reported more than 60 people wounded. The incident occurred reportedly after the Israeli military detected 5 projectiles launched from Lebanon. Sirens were activated in several regions, including Galilee, Haifa Bay and Carmel. Hezbollah late on Sunday said that it launched a squadron of attack drones at Israel's Binyamina camp. The strike was in response to Israel's attacks, including airstrikes on Thursday in central Beirut. In a later statement, Hezbollah warned Israel with more attacks if its offensive in Lebanon continued. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Sunday denounced attacks that have injured several peacekeepers in southern Lebanon. The UN Secretary General in a statement said the attacks against peacekeepers are in breach of international law and may constitute a war crime. The UN chief said UNIFIL personnel and its premises have never been targeted. The UN chief urged all parties, including the IDF, to refrain from any and all actions that put our peacekeepers at risk. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu earlier called on the UN chief on Sunday to move peacekeepers deployed in South Lebanon out of harm's way, saying Hezbollah was using them as human shields. In a video statement, Netanyahu said that your refusal to evacuate the UNIFIL soldiers makes them hostages of Hezbollah. This endangers both them and the lives of our soldiers. His call to UN Chief Antonio Guterres came a day after United Nations interim force in Lebanon repeated its refusal to withdraw from the border area after 5 of its members were wounded in the Israel-Hezbollah conflict. The Israeli Prime Minister also regretted the harm to UNIFIL soldiers and said that Israel is doing its utmost to prevent such harm. U.S. Secretary of State Lloyd Austin, in a call with his Israeli counterpart on Sunday, stressed on the importance of Israel taking all necessary measures to ensure the safety and security of UN peacekeepers in Lebanon and the Lebanese armed forces. Austin, in a call with Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, also reinforced the need to pivot from military operations in Lebanon to diplomatic pathway to provide security for civilians as soon as feasible. He said that steps must be taken soon to address the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza. The U.S. announced on Sunday the deployment of a terminal high-altitude area defense, that is THAAD missile battery, along with U.S. military personnel to Israel. In a statement, the Pentagon said, at the direction of President, Secretary Austin authorized the deployment of a terminal high-altitude area defense, that is THAAD battery, and associated crew of U.S. military personnel to Israel to help bolster Israel's air defenses following Iran's unprecedented attacks against Israel on April 13th and again on October 1st. The move is aimed at enhancing Israel's air defense capabilities. Now, this is not the region's first deployment of the THAAD system. Last year, the U.S. sent a THAAD battery to the West Asia following the October 7th attacks to defend U.S. troops and regional interests. Additionally, the U.S. deployed a THAAD battery to Israel in 2019 for training and an integrated air defense exercise. French President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday urged his Iranian counterpart Masoud Pezeshkian to support a general de-escalation in West Asia during a conversation. In a separate discussion, Macron reiterated to Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati the absolute necessity of obtaining a ceasefire in Lebanon without further delay. Meanwhile, former U.S. President Donald Trump claimed that he spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu just days ago as tensions between Israel and Iran escalate. During a Fox News interview, Trump criticized President Joe Biden, calling it pathetic that Biden had not spoken to Netanyahu for nearly 2 months. Trump, who met with Israeli leader in July at his Florida resort, their first meeting since Trump's presidency, suggested Netanyahu isn't listening to Biden. Biden and Netanyahu finally spoke last Wednesday, their first conversation since August, amid rising hostilities with Iran and Hezbollah.
Like 2 days ago, and he came to my house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago, with his wife, was lovely, but he came to Mar-a-Lago. He came to, I guess, I could tell you that Bibi has been very strong. He is not listening to Biden.
A man arrested at a security checkpoint near Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump's California rally on Saturday faces gun charges. The 49-year-old man, identified as Las Vegas resident Wem Miller, was found in possession of a loaded firearms, multiple passports and a fake license plate. Riverside County Sheriff said that he believed his department prevented another assassination attempt.
What we do know is he showed up with multiple passports with different names, an unregistered vehicle with fake license plate, and loaded firearms. If you're asking me right now, I probably did have deputies that prevented the third assassination attempt.
However, jail records show that Miller was released on $5,000 bail on Saturday after being charged. He could not immediately be reached for comment on Sunday. Trump's rally on Saturday took place in Coachella Valley, an area known for its annual music and arts festival. Now, this is the third attempt of assassination on Donald Trump in California this year, ahead of the U.S. presidential election on November 5th. Before this, Trump was attacked for a couple of times on July 15th and September 15th. Let's take a look at the previous assassination attempts on Trump. The first assassination attempt took place when Trump was shot at an open-air campaign rally in Pennsylvania in July. He was wounded when a bullet just grazed past his upper right ear. The attack left Trump with minor injuries. However, a man in the crowd was killed. The shooter was 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, who fired from a roof of a nearby building. The attacker was shot dead by Secret Service within seconds. The second assassination attempt took place in September when Trump was at his golf course in Florida. 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Ruth was charged and arrested with firearms offenses. Trump was about 300 to 500 yards away from the spot at that time. The suspect did not fire his weapon during the incident, who dropped the rifle and fled in a vehicle. He was later arrested by the police on the I-95 highway. Meanwhile, former U.S. President and Republican presidential nominee addressed a rally in the Prescott Valley of Arizona on Sunday, where he made bold promises on immigration, pledging to hire 10,000 additional Border Patrol agents if re-elected. Intensifying his criticism of Vice President Kamala Harris, Trump focused much of his speech on border security. He vowed to seek congressional approval for a 10% pay rise for Border Patrol agents, along with $10,000 signing and retention bonus.
But after I win, I will be asking Congress immediately to approve a 10% raise. I haven't had one in a long time for all agents. And a $10,000 each retention and signing bonus. So we're going to retain them. We're going to retain them. This will ensure that we can hire and keep the Border Patrol agents that we need to keep, and we can also bring in a lot of new ones, really great ones.
While Trump's rival and U.S. presidential candidate Kamala Harris energized supporters with sharp criticism of her opponent at a powerful rally in North Carolina. Harris began by addressing the devastation caused by Hurricane Helene and Milton, assuring the crowd that she had spoken to both Democratic and Republican leaders in the state to coordinate relief efforts. Shifting her focus to the election, Harris urged voters to remember that Election Day is nearing, with early voting starting on Thursday in North Carolina. In a pointed attack on Trump, she accused him of lacking transparency, highlighting his failure to release medical records, a practice she and other candidates have followed. Harris also noted that Trump refused a 60-minute interview, breaking a long-standing tradition among presidential candidates.
He is only focused on himself. And he's not, but here's the thing, North Carolina, and he's not being transparent with the voters. He's not being transparent. So check this out. He refuses to release his medical records. I've done it. Every other Every other presidential candidate in modern era has done it. He is unwilling to do a 60 Minutes interview. Like every other major party candidate has done for more than half a century. He is unwilling to meet for a second debate.
Former President Bill Clinton hit the campaign trail in Georgia on Sunday, rallying support for Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Speaking at a Baptist church in Albania and a community fish fry in Fort Valley, Clinton urged voters to cast their ballots early for Harris and other Democrats. He took a swipe at Donald Trump, mocking him for claiming credit for any good news in the country. Clinton emphasized on the high stakes of the election, saying undecided voters hold the future of the nation in their hands.
To be a truly great.
This whole election and the future of the country is turning out to be what people who were sort of on the fence about voting are going to do in the next 3.5 weeks. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. You may not think it's bad, but I mean, if you're one of them, don't feel guilty or anything, but the whole future of the country is on your back.
You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, UK's David Lammy to attend EU foreign affairs talks after 2 years amid the new government's efforts to reset relations with the continent. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky cautions Western allies on North Korea's increasing support for Russia. Spacecraft manufacturing giant SpaceX catches a new mega rocket booster after test flight on Monday.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News. North Korea has warned Seoul of a horrible disaster if South Korean drones are found flying over Pyongyang. North Korea's artillery units near the border have been ordered to be ready to fire. North Korea has blamed the South Korean military for the practice. It has also been floating balloons with trash into the south in reprisal. Also on Friday, North Korea accused South Korea of sending drones into Pyongyang at night this week and last, and said the intrusion demanded retaliatory action. Also, South Korea neither confirmed nor denied it, however, warned of severe consequences. Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama on Sunday said that an enhanced Central European Free Trade Agreement for the Western Balkan region was within reach ahead of the Western Balkan Summit that will be hosted by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz on Monday. He added Albania seeks to make itself fit for membership of the European Union by 2030.
So tomorrow will be important to come back and to fix the CEFTA mechanism about which there were some controversies in the last month, but apparently they are overcome now. So this is a good, beneficial part of the Berlin process, in kind of keeping all of us on track. So our aim, anyhow, is to make Albania become a member state-like country in the terms of doing all the homework, concluding all the institution building reforms, fulfill all the criteria and the standards within the 2030.
The UK's foreign minister will join European ministers at the Foreign Affairs Council for the first time in 2 years on Monday, as the new government looks to reset relations with the continent. David Lammy will join with a group of 27 EU foreign ministers for talks in Luxembourg on the Middle East and the war in Ukraine. Lammy said that this visit is an opportunity for the UK to be back at the table, discussing the most pressing global issues with our closest neighbours and tackle the seismic challenges we all face. The UK's foreign ministry highlighted Ukraine as a prime example of how UK-EU collaboration makes a tangible impact. It pointed to a joint sanction on Russia, coordinated training of Ukrainian troops, and the mutual work on humanitarian support. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned on Sunday that his country's defense alliances must adapt in response to North Korea's increasing support for Russia. In his nightly address, Zelensky highlighted the growing alliance between Russia and North Korea, revealing that it extends beyond weapons transfers involving North Korean personnel aiding Russian forces in Ukraine. The Kremlin dismissed claims from South Korea about North Korean military involvement, but Zelensky emphasized on the seriousness of the situation. He called for stronger support from Ukraine's partners, urging for more long-range capabilities and consistent military supplies.
We see an increasing alliance between Russia and regimes like in North Korea. It is no longer just about transferring weapons. It is actually about the transfer of people from North Korea to the occupied military forces. It is obvious that under such conditions, our relationship with our partners needs to evolve. The front line needs more support.
Lithuania's centre-left opposition, Social Democrats, will attempt to form a majority coalition government together with two other parties following the country's parliamentary election. Early results showed SD ahead in the election, which is dominated by concerns over living costs and potential threats from neighbouring Russia. However, if no candidate gets more than 50% of the vote in a district, its top two candidates face each other in a runoff on October 27th. Meanwhile, the country's centre-right government of Prime Minister Ingrida Simonte saw its popularity eroded by inflation that topped 20% 2 years ago, as well as by deteriorating public services and a widening gap between the rich and the poor. Iceland's three-party coalition government collapsed on Sunday over disagreements on policy issues. Country's Prime Minister Johnny Benediktsson called for elections to be held on November 30th. Benediktsson, head of the Conservative Independence Party, said tensions had mounted within the left-right coalition on issues ranging from foreign policy to asylum seekers and energy. The coalition had been made up of the Independence Party, the Left-Green Movement and the centre-right Progressive Party. Benediktsson would hold a meeting with Icelandic President Hala Thomasdottir on Monday regarding the decision to dissolve the parliament. According to the broadcaster, election must take place at the latest 45 days after the dissolution of the parliament is announced. France has announced plans to introduce a new immigration law at the start of 2025, following the previous law passed in January 2024. Now, this decision comes after intense debates in Parliament and within the presidential majority. French government spokesperson Maud Brejon stated that the new law is necessary to update several provisions and will be ready for Parliament in early 2025. The announcement comes amid growing controversy over immigration in France, particularly following the killing of a young woman in Paris by an illegal migrant who had been issued a deportation order that the French police had delayed in enforcing, bringing the issue of unexecuted deportation orders back into focus. France has one of the highest numbers of deportation orders in Europe, with over 134,000 recorded in 2022. However, the enforcement rate is low at just 7% as compared to 30% in some other European countries. Colombia's defense minister warns that there is no room for both the army and the FARC dissidents amid an operation against the guerrilla group in the southwest of the country. Ivan Velasquez visited El Platido in the Cauca department, which is a key stronghold in the Miquel Canyon region. EMC is the largest faction of guerrillas that did not adhere to the peace agreement that disarmed the FARC in 2017. The guerrillas group on Saturday urged the delegations not to attend the COP16 Biodiversity Summit beginning in the southwestern city of Cali on October 21st after Bogota launched a military offensive against the rebels. U.S. President Joe Biden pledged ongoing federal support for Florida's recovery from Hurricane Milton after surveying the extensive damage caused by the storm, which claimed at least 17 lives. Following closely on the heels of the Hurricane Helene, Milton left a trail of devastation with power outages and fuel shortages still plaguing the state. Aboard Marine One, Biden flew over Florida's western coast, witnessing shattered communities and the damaged roof of Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. On the ground, he saw debris-filled neighborhoods and homes ravaged by the storm. Biden emphasized that while federal aid has been approved, FEMA will need additional funding from Congress. He urged lawmakers currently on recess to return and approve more disaster relief funds.
I did an aerial tour of St. Petersburg and the battered coastline. I flew over Tropicana Field and with the Tampa Bay raised play, and the roof is almost completely off, but thank God not many people were injured. And homeowners have taken a real beating, these back-to-back storms, and they're heartbroken and exhausted, and their expenses are piling up.
Residents of a retirement community in the southeastern U.S. state of Florida who survived Hurricane Milton and the ensuing tornadoes recounted their dreadful experience. The U.S. National Weather Service issued a staggering 126 tornado warnings across Florida last week after Hurricane Milton made landfall on October 9th as a Category 3 storm. Among the hardest hit were Spanish Lakes County villages in St. Lucie County, where 2 tornadoes hit that uprooted homes and claimed lives of 17 people in Florida. Despite the devastation, these resilient seniors embody hope and strength, working together to clean up the remnants of their lives. In yet another tech marvel, SpaceX, in its 5th Starship test flight on Sunday, returned the rocket's towering first-stage booster back to its Texas launch pad for the first time using giant metal arms. The rocket's first-stage Super Heavy booster lifted off from SpaceX Boca Chica, Texas launch facilities. With this, another novel engineering feat was achieved in the company's push to build a reusable Moon and Mars vehicle. The novel catch landing method is the latest advance in SpaceX's test-to-failure development campaign for a fully reusable rocket designed to loft more cargo into orbit, ferry humans to the moon for NASA, and eventually reach Mars, the ultimate destination envisioned by CEO Elon Musk. Starship, first unveiled by Musk in 2017, has exploded several times in various stages of testing on past flights, but successfully completed a full flight in June for the first time. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, India's External Affairs Minister is expected to attend SCO Summit as Pakistan prepares for the big event amid security concerns. Ahead of government formation in the Union Territory, Centre revokes President's rule in Jammu and Kashmir. People in Gujarat make preparations to celebrate Chandi Padvo festival with Ghari and Bushu.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. A quick relook at the top stories now.
China starts military exercises around Taiwan, deploys planes and ships to encircle it. Taiwan calls it a blatant provocation. 4 Israeli soldiers dead, many injured in a drone attack. Hezbollah threatens Israel with more attacks if Lebanon assault continues. Man arrested near Trump rally in California faces gun charges, had firearms, multiple passports and a fake license plate. Police claims to have averted another assassination attempt. North Korea says border units on standby to shoot amid drone infiltration. South Korea neither confirms nor denies it, however, warns of severe consequences. India's President Draupadi Murmu addresses Indian community in Algeria, says Indian community is a bridge between the two nations. Delegation level talks today. Preparations are underway in Pakistan as the country gears up to host a summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization grouping on 15th and 16th of October. The meeting of the SCO comprises of 9 full members, including China, India, Iran and Russia. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is expected to attend alongside Prime Ministers of China and Russia, among others. Meanwhile, restrictions under Section 144 have been imposed in Karachi and Pakistan's Punjab ahead of the summit. Authorities will also shut down the capital Islamabad amid recent terrorist violence and political unrest, including a deadly attack on a convoy of Chinese engineers in Karachi. India's President Draupadi Murmu graced an Indian community reception in Algiers on Sunday. The President said that Indian community in Algeria was a bridge taking forward India's interests and soft power. She added that the Government of India and the Indian society have always valued and appreciated the contribution of the Indian community in enhancing India's position, prestige and standing abroad.
भारतीय लोग भविष्य में अल्जीरिया के साथ साझेदारी के लिए तैयारी है। अल्जीरिया ने विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में कार्यरत परिश्रमी भारतीय समुदाय एक तरह से भारत के सच्चे राजदूत हैं। ऐसे तो हम लोगों के राजदूत हैं, लेकिन आप भी एक राजदूत का ही काम कर रहे हैं। जब भी आप किसी अल्जीरियाई व्यक्ति से मिलते हैं तो आप उसका परिचय भारत की भावना से करते हैं। आपका संस्कृति, आपके चाल चलन, चेहरा, भावना भारतीयता में भरी हुई है।
The President also said that India supported Algeria's liberation movement against colonialism from the very beginning. She said our leaders have had close personal relations.
भारत ने कॉलोनियलिज्म के विरुद्ध अर्जिया के मुक्ति आंदोलन का शुरू से ही समर्थन किया। हमारे नेताओं के अल्जीरिया के नेताओं के साथ घनिष्ठ व्यक्तिगत संबंध रहे हैं। जब 1962 में अल्जीरिया स्वतंत्र हुआ तो भारत अल्जीरिया का साथ देने के लिए मौजूद था और हमने तुरंत राजनीतिक संबंध स्थापित किए। तब से राजनीतिक संबंधों में कोई गुना वृद्धि हुई है।
Earlier, up on arrival, President Murmu was received by her Algerian counterpart Abdelmajid Tebboune as a special jester. Also, other members of the cabinet were present. The President was accorded a warm ceremonial welcome. She was honoured with a 21-gun salute and reviewed a guard of honour consisting of the Republican Guard and members of the Land, Air and Naval Forces. The President is in Algeria as part of a 3-nation tour of Africa, where she will also visit Mauritania and Malawi, which is reflective of India's deep desire to strengthen partnership with the African countries. And up next, we quickly take a look at President's itinerary for today. She is scheduled to pay her respects at the Maqam Echadet, the memorial built in honor of martyrs of the Algerian War of Independence. She will then visit the Mujahid Museum. Also, later, the President will meet Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune and will hold delegation-level talks followed by a press statement. In the evening, President Murmu will attend the lunch hosted by President Tebboune. Besides this, she will also address the Algeria-India Economic Forum. Finally, at the end of the day, Speaker of the National People's Assembly of Algeria, Ibrahim Boghali, will call on the visiting dignitary. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar highlighted key ways to strengthen US-India strategic and economic ties, as well as emphasized upon the natural synergy between the two nations at the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum that began in New Delhi on Sunday. Now, this summit follows on the heels of India's Prime Minister Modi's successful visit to United States for the 6th Quad Leaders Summit and the United Nations General Assembly. Dr. S. Jaishankar also underscored the policy continuity under Prime Minister Modi's leadership and outlined significant opportunities for American investors. He also encouraged board members to support Prime Minister's internship scheme to enhance employability, equip youth with the tools they need to thrive, and foster a skilled workforce ready to meet future challenges. The US-India Strategic Partnership Forum, that is USISPF, aims to create a powerful partnership between the US and India. The President's rule in India's Jammu and Kashmir was revoked on Sunday, paving the way for the formation of a new government in the Union Territory. The decision comes after National Conference Vice President Omar Abdullah met with Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha on Friday to stake claim to form the new government. President's rule was imposed on June 2018. In August 2019, the centre revoked Jammu and Kashmir's semi-autonomous position under Article 370 of the Constitution and gave it the status of Union Territory. The Chief Secretary of West Bengal has called on an emergency meeting today with key medical bodies after Federation of All India Medical Association or FIMA made a nationwide call for boycotting elective services. Now, the Federation members said that they will closely assess the meeting's outcome to ensure it meets the demands of the West Bengal Junior Doctors Front. It added that if the meeting failed to produce satisfactory results, they will proceed with a complete boycott from 15th of October onwards. They, however, added that the emergency services will remain unaffected to uphold our commitment to urgent patient care. Notably, junior doctors have been on fast unto death since October 5th, demanding justice for the deceased woman medic at the R.G. Kar Medical College and Hospital, besides addressing other issues. In line with India's policy of zero tolerance against drugs, the special cell of Delhi Police and Gujarat Police continue their huge crackdown against drug mafia. On Sunday, the joint team seized 518 kilograms of cocaine from Gujarat. The recovered drugs belonged to a company named Pharma Solution Services and came from Avkar Drugs Limited, Ankleshwar, Gujarat. Earlier on October 1st, the team raided a warehouse in Delhi's Mahipalpur and seized a consignment of 562 kilograms of cocaine and 40 kilograms of hydroponic marijuana. Similar action was taken on 10th of October when they seized around 208 kilograms of additional cocaine from Delhi itself. So far, a total of 1,289 kilograms of cocaine and 40 kilograms of hydroponic silent marijuana have been recovered in this case. The Delhi Metro Rail Corporation's Line 4 connecting Yamuna Bank with Vaishali in Ghaziabad has achieved carbon neutral certification on Sunday. The milestone underlines DMRC's commitment to reduce its carbon footprint and addressing climate change. DMRC has successfully minimized the carbon footprint by adopting energy efficient technologies like regenerative braking and rolling back, use of more renewable power in operations, construction of rainwater harvesting pits, efficient waste management systems. Earlier, DMRC achieved carbon neutral certification for its corporate headquarters at Metro Bhavan and the staff quarters in Sector 50, Noida. Delhi Metro Rail Corporation is also aligned with the Government of India's goal to reach net zero emissions by 2070. India's PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan for Multi-Modal Connectivity completed 3 years on Sunday. Launched on October 13th in 2021, the scheme achieved significant milestones in transforming the country's infrastructure landscape. The scheme helped in boosting the pace of development of the country. The scheme also constitutes of 7 engines including road, railways, airports, ports, public transport, waterways and logistics infrastructure.
PM Gati Shakti has integrated 44 central ministries and 36 states and union territories with more than 1600 data layers, making it a crucial tool for planning and executing infrastructure projects. The platform has significantly improved interministerial coordination and streamlined project execution. Impacting social sector ministries, PM Gati Shakti enabled better infrastructure planning in essential areas such as primary healthcare, education, postal services and travel development, ensuring that even remote and underserved areas are part of India's infrastructure growth story. While in a unified approach under PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, platform states have streamlined their capital investment for accelerating infrastructure development. The scheme, launched under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, elevated India's rank by 6 places from 44 to 38 in World Bank's Logistic Performance Index Report 2023. The PM Gati Shakti's data-driven approach is powered by GIS-based tools and a real-time monitoring system that enables faster and more informed decision-making. Under PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, Indian Railways has surveyed over 49,983 km length for development of multimodal connectivity infrastructure in various economic zones. The platform also ensures that projects are aligned with national priorities and completed on time. This integration is key to meeting India's net zero by 2070 commitments. Over 1,000 officials are trained under the scheme for training and capacity building purposes. As India moves forward, the PM Gati Shakti is expected to continuously evolve to keep playing a pivotal role in expanding multimodal infrastructure, developing smart cities, and enhancing the country's industrial capabilities through industrial corridors and mega investment regions. Sharing of non-sensitive and shareable data with the non-government users is also being considered. PM Gati Shakti District Master Plan portal is also being developed with technical support of BISAC-N or Bhaskaracharya National Institute for Space Applications and Geoinformatics for collaborative planning at the district level by state and district authorities. Taking PMGS to international level, diplomatic engagements are underway with countries in the neighborhood and other developing countries like Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Madagascar, Senegal and Gambia. Bureau Report, DD India.
Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. The Chief Minister of Central Indian State of Madhya Pradesh, Mohan Yadav, inaugurated the 15-day celebration marking the birth anniversary of Maharishi Valmiki. It is to be observed on October 17. The day honors the greatest sage who wrote the Ramayana, a famous epic that teaches about ethics, morality and victory of good over evil. Preparation begins in the western Indian state of Gujarat for Chandi Padvo festival, which will be celebrated on 17th of October. The festival is an occasion when Gujarati people gather with friends and family to enjoy local variety of sweets, ghari and bhushu. Last rites of former Minister of Western Indian state of Maharashtra, Baba Siddiqui, was performed with state honours in Mumbai on Sunday. The Nationalist Congress Party leader was shot dead on Saturday night by 3 unidentified attackers in Mumbai. India's Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, interacted with the students of Jammu and Kashmir in New Delhi on Sunday. He further advised the students on how to imbibe new technologies and get acquainted with new developments in different segments of the society. A quick break ahead, but after the break, Asia shares await China's market's response to detailed thin stimulus pledges. Kenya's Ruth Chepiatek smashes women's marathon world record. Top seed Aryna Sabalenka wins 3rd straight Wuhan Open title. Men's world number 1 Yannick Sinner clinches Shanghai Masters.
Jaipur.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get to updates from the world of business now. The US dollar values extended gains in early Monday trades in Asia as a holiday in Japan sapped liquidity. Also ahead of the onshore market opening, the yuan was down more than 0.2% against the dollar, while the Australian dollar, whose fortunes are closely tied to China, was down 0.16%. Euro was also down by 0.13%, and last week's US data showed slightly hotter than expected consumer inflation, leaving intact the expectations for the Fed to cut rates by 25 basis points in November and December. Asian stocks hardly budged in early holiday-thinned trade on Monday, with investors nervous as to how markets in China would react to government economic stimulus promises. Trading in Asia was thinned on Monday, with Japan out for a holiday. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan was last up 0.12%. It fell 1.7% last week. US stock futures also edged lower as S&P 500 went down by 0.05%, while Nasdaq fell 0.1%. Let's turn focus to sports now. Ruth Chepiotek of Kenya has demolished the women's marathon world record by almost 2 minutes on Sunday to win the Chicago Marathon in 2 hours, 9 minutes, 58 seconds. She smashed the previous world record set by Ethiopia's Tixi Assefa in Berlin last year. Chepiotek became the first woman to win Chicago race thrice. She also won in 2021 and 2022. Chepiotek set a blistering pace from the start itself, running the first 5 kilometers in 15 minutes, and by the halfway mark, she had built a 14-second cushion. Ethiopian Sutome Kebede came second, while Kenyan Irene Shaptai finished third. Top seed Aryna Sabalenka shook off a second set blip to win 3 back-to-back Wuhan Open titles. She beat Chinese 5th seed and home favourite Zheng Qinwen 6-3, 5-7, 6-3 in the final on Sunday. Sabalenka did not face a single break point in the opening set, but world number 2 Sabalenka lost some control in the second set against the Paris Olympics gold medalist. However, she raced to win in the decider set, and she's the first player to win 3 successive Wuhan Open titles. Sabalenka is targeting to reclaim the top ranking in the final weeks of the season. World number 1 Jannik Sinner defeated 24-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic 7-6, 6-3 on Sunday to win the Shanghai Masters. Sinner took a crucial break in the 4th game of the second set to defeat the Serb and deny him a 100th career singles title. The Serb had been hoping to become only the 3rd man to win 100 singles titles in a professional era after Jimmy Connors with 109 and rival Roger Federer with 103 titles. US Open and Australian Open champion Sinner, who levelled his head-to-head record against Djokovic at 4 each, has won 7 ATP titles this year. He has ensured the year-end number 1 ranking. All right, on to cricket now. India's hopes of reaching the semi-finals of the Women's T20 World Cup 2024 took a major hit on Sunday after Harmanpreet Kaur-led side lost to Australia in their final group game. The defeat left India second in the points table, but New Zealand can overtake them with a win over Pakistan on Monday. Australia entered the semi-finals unbeaten, winning all the 4 of their group matches. Chasing 152, an early collapse of 6 for 31 left Harmanpreet the last batter standing, and despite a second successive half-century, she could not take India over the line alone. India, however, can still reach the final if Pakistan wins against New Zealand on Monday. Any margin of victory for New Zealand will eliminate India, but a Pakistan victory will decide the semi-finalists on net run rate. England captain Ben Stokes looks on course to return for the second test against Pakistan starting in Multan on Tuesday. The 33-year-old had missed the first test, which England won under stand-in skipper Ollie Pope. England normally names their team 2 days before the start of a test, but will wait until a final verdict on Stokes' fitness on Monday before announcing their side. If Stokes is declared fit, he is likely to replace Chris Woakes. Inter Miami star Lionel Messi and the rest of Argentina trained ahead of their next World Cup qualifier against Bolivia on Wednesday. The reigning World Cup champions will face Bolivia midway through the qualification campaign. Bolivia will visit Argentina after clinching a 1-0 win against Colombia, while Argentina comes into the match following a draw with Venezuela in their latest qualifier. Argentina currently lead the South American CONMEBOL qualifier standings. Russian-born Canadian Artur Beterbiev was crowned boxing's undisputed light heavyweight world champion. He beat Russian rival Dmitry Bivol on a majority points decision in Riyadh on Sunday. 2 of 3 ringside judges scored the fight 115 to 113 and 116 to 112 to Beterbiev, while the other called it tied at 114 and 114. On to other news, thousands flocked on the streets of Berlin for the 20th anniversary of the Festival of Lights. The festival takes place every year in the fall. Every year, the spectacular creations of the Festival of Lights team, as well as invited artists, put Berlin in an extraordinary light with illuminations, artistic projections, and 3D mappings under a certain motto. In the anniversary year, the motto, Celebrating Freedom, focuses on freedom, self-determination, and free development. Hundreds of spectators witnessed the beautiful show as they captured the colorful lights on their device. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. And you can download the respective QR codes on your screens. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.